Good afternoon here in Buenos Aires, Argentina, all over the world. Thank you for being here. If you're not seeing now, I hope you will see it afterwards in the repetitions we will make in our pages in Facebook. This is Solex English, Solex Mal Universal Language, with testimony the work of Eugenio Siragusa, the most important contact of the last times. Eugenio Siragusa was born in 1919, and his work from heaven to earth started at 1952. He had three times of his work. This is the third time of his work. Although he has gone away, he has passed away in 2006. He has passed away, but he is still here with us, and through the testimony of his work, he is also working. The most important thing we want to speak today is about the centenary of Fatima. It was last Saturday, May 13th, and it's very, very near of the centenary of the when Eugenio was born, that it will be in 2019, in 2 years. We are now translating what Filippo Bongiovanni, that is the witness of his work in Solex English and all over the world and everywhere. Filippo made a direct video last Saturday, and we are trying to translate today in English language what he spoke about. First of all, I would like you to know about Fatima's message. Fatima's message was hidden. John Paul II said he was publishing or officialization of making of, sorry if I don't know all the words, but he was making public the message of Fatima, but it was not true. It was changed. So Fatima's message is still being hidden. Fatima's message spoke about what is going to happen today, in these times. In these times, it will be more suffering that it's been happening all this century and the last centuries. If you like, we could listen to this message that, although it was not made public by the Pope and by anyone of the powerful people, it was public in Europa News in 1963 and by several groups inside the church. For example, Padre Pio's group and Mons Corrado Balducci, among others. So you can watch this message in our pages at www.pesolex.com, and also you can watch the documents, for example, the Europa News in 1963, in which it was being public. Although it's another part of the third message called the fourth message that's been omitted and has not been public in Europa News, and it's called Fourth Message of Fatima. But we are going to listen to the third and fourth message of Fatima that's still been hidden. When you listen to that message, you can you will understand what's about, and then we can speak about what Filippo told last Saturday. So if you want, you can listen to this message. it's very important that you know that when the Virgin speaks about the 20th century, she is speaking about these times, because although the changes that have been made during the last centuries, when we speak about the second half of the 20th century, we are speaking about these times.
Fatima's message. This is the real content of the third and fourth message of Fatima. As the calendars have been changed during the last centuries, when Virgin Mary refers to the second half of the 20th century, it refers to these times since 1976 exactly up to now. Fatima, 1917. The Virgin to Lucia dos Santos in presence of Francis and Jacinta. Don't be afraid, dear little girl. I am the Mother of God who talks to you and asks you to make public the present message to the whole world. Making this, you will find strong resistance. Listen well and pay attention to what I say to you. Men must correct themselves. With humble pleas, they should ask forgiveness for the sins committed and which they should commit. You wish me to give a signal for everyone to accept my words that I say by your mediation to mankind. You have seen the miracle of the sun, and everyone, believers, unbelievers, peasants, citizens, scholars, journalists, lay people, priests, everyone has seen it. And now proclaiming my name, a great punishment will fall upon all mankind. Not today, not tomorrow, but in the second half of the 20th century. I had already revealed it to the children Melania and Massimino in La Salette, and today I repeat it to you, because mankind has sinned and trampled the gift that I had done. Nowhere in the world there is order, and Satan reigns over the highest positions, determining the course of events. He will effectively introduce up to the casket of the church. He will achieve to seduce the great scientists, spirits, who create weapons, with which it will be possible to destroy in a few minutes much of humanity. He will hold the powerful who rule the people, and will enlist them to make huge quantities of these weapons. And if mankind does not oppose this, I will be forced to let off the arm of my son. Then God will punish men more severely than he had done with the Diluvian. There will become the time of times and the end of ends. If humanity does not convert, and if everything should continue as now, or worse, should deteriorate more, the great and the powerful will perish along with the small and the weak. Also for the Church, it will become the time of its greatest trials. Cardinals will oppose cardinals, bishops to bishops. Satan will walk in between their ranks, and in Rome there will be changes. What is rotten, it will fall, and what is fallen shall not rise again. The Church will be obfuscated, and the world shaken by terror. The time will come when no king, emperor, cardinal, or bishop will wait for him who nevertheless will come. waters of the oceans will become vapors, and foam will rise, steering and sinking everything. Millions and millions of people will perish hourly. Those who remain living will envy the dead. For any side where the gaze will be directed, there will be anguish, misery, ruin in all countries. See, the time is coming more and more, and the abyss in haste is hopeless. The good will perish with the weak ones, the great with the small ones, the prince of a church with their faithful, and the rulers with their people. There will be death everywhere because of the mistakes of fools and supporters of Satan, who then and only then will reign over the world. Finally, when those who will survive all events are still alive, they will proclaim back to God and His glory, and will serve Him as a time when the world was not so perverted. Go, my little girl, and proclaim it. For this purpose, I will always be at your side to help you. And in that time, cosmic beings will come from distant parts of the universe in the name of God.
Well, I hope you could listen okay this podcast about the third and fourth message of Fatima. As I have told you, this is the hidden message that Church hasn't made it public, and Church, the Virgin asked that this message had to be public on 1960 because in that times peoples of the world could understand. She was speaking about the nuclear weapons. That's why. It's not the second war what she was speaking about. She was speaking about the possible third world war that it's now all the time that it seems that it's going to happen. It's already happening, no, but it could be worse. And so the message of Fatima has some points that I would like you to tell about them. The message speaks about the returning of Jesus Christ, but not with love only, but with justice. That's the moment in which the Virgin says, I would have to let free the arm of my son. Another very important point that the message speaks about is about Satan at the cusp of the church. It's not speaking about just one person, but about a system, and not only about the Catholic Church, but all the powerful people of the world, but especially about the Catholic Church, because it is more responsible, because it's the one that it's hiding the message. Also, the fourth message, that it's the last time that you have listened in the podcast, speaks about superior brothers coming from another planets in the name of God. That's what Eugenio always spoke about, that are the angels, the beings of light, the extraterrestrials today, angels yesterday, but not the extraterrestrials that we always are watching at Hollywood pictures or films that are negative. No, that's not the reality. They obey our Father and God. They are ruled by three very important values in the universe that are love, justice, and peace. So they have nothing to do with the Hollywood or any film that we are very accustomed to see, no? Some films told some important things about extraterrestrials, but are very, very little. The most important films that we can see today always makes us think about extraterrestrials as negative. Another thing that Virgin speaks about in the message of Fatima is that the earth, the water will become vapors, and that's because the center of the earth, the magnetic ass, I don't know how you can say it in English, the magnetic point of the earth, it will be changing, will be moved. It's been moving these times, but it will be moving more, and that's why the water will become vapors. Also, Lucia, one of the seers of the Virgin in Fatima, the seers in Fatima were 3 little shepherds. 2 of them died when they were small children. And hello, they are saying hello, some people of Solex, and I hope it's been a good transmission. But Lucia, he died a few years ago, and he was the witness that always was trying to tell about the message of Fatima, but as he became inside of the church, he was silent. He didn't. I don't know. We don't know if she didn't obey what Virgin asked to make public the message, or another theory is that she has been replace it with another. In Argentina, in Spanish, we call it socias. It was not the real Lucia. This is not science fiction, because this had already happened with another people. For example, Pope Paul VI, that as he wanted to make public message of Fatima, he was replaced with another similar person that took the place of Pope Paul VI, but was not real one. Then he has been killed. So that's what the Virgin says when says that Satan will govern the world. The powerful people of the world, some decades ago, since 1960 or more, they are always hiding these things, but because they don't want to lose their power, and that's why they say that they had killed Pope John Paul I. Also, John Paul II received an admonistation, I think, from heaven when they tried to kill him in 1984 on May 13th at 17 hours 19 minutes. It's upside down as the year of Fatima, that it's 1917. And in that time, John Paul II, when he was in hospital, he read again the message of Fatima that he was continuing he continued hiding, but he didn't took the correct decision, although this happened to him. And he said that he was going to publish the message of Fatima in 1966, I think, and he didn't really publish the correct message of Fatima. It's a bit diplomatic, very diplomatic. Eugenio used to say that diplomacy doesn't, it's not useful really. So, as you can see, the powerful people of the world and although in the Catholic Church they are hiding because they don't want to lose their power. Another thing that the message of Fatima speaks about, it's about that poor people, rich people, powerful people, the peoples of the world, everyone will die. Not really everyone, but everyone will suffer the consequences of what we are making wrong. Although that we are not making some bad thing, the consequences, the karma, as we said here, we all will receive, except some people that will be saved. That's not nothing that we can know who could be or not, but it will be very little people. Those people that will be very, very good and synchronized with all the values of which the earth will be when it passed at fourth dimension in these times. And well, another thing very important that we haven't listened in this podcast of the third and fourth message of Fatima, but that Lucia also received, it was about the necessary of the conversion of Russia, but not what they made in 1984 or what Pope Francis did some years ago, but that's not the real conversion, because Russia is continue to having nuclear weapons, for example. And that's other point that the message of Fatima said, that men will have very powerful and lethal weapons that will kill most part of humanity in a few minutes. What she's speaking about is the nuclear weapons. And so these are all the points of the message of Fatima, that it's still being hidden. So I hope you had liked this first transmission. It's an experimental transmission, and so I ask forgiveness of my bad English, because I was a bit nervous because about all these technical questions or things that I have to be attending this time. But I promise the next one will be better. But I hope you could understand it, and any question you want to make, you can ask for me. Thank you very much to all of you.